Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most overpowered early game build in Splatoon Raiders. The best part about this setup is we have a ton of mobility, we can spread ink in a large area of effect, and it's really fun to play. I'll be breaking down everything you need to know for this particular setup, the best strategies to use in combat, and just general tips and tricks. Now, in my opinion, the strongest tank to use for this build is the power tank. It has some of the best gadgets in this game, and I'll be breaking that down, but I'll also talk about builds for the tactical and speed tanks, as you can also use those. Now, it is good to level up all the different tanks, because you can see here, for me to upgrade the power tank to the next level, I actually upgrade the speed tank to its next level as well. But the two strongest gadgets with the power tank, in my opinion, is using the Splatolites here and the Splatchet. The reason that the Splatolites are so good is you can have it so that it's going to create this huge area of effect of ink for you. This is just with a few different gadget upgrades here, and you can see this is really impactful because in this game you need to have a backpedal plan, and if you run out of ink you're out of luck. So you always want to be spreading around as much as possible in an area of effect, and that's exactly what this particular setup does. The Splatchet is also nice, giving you a charge forwards and then an attack there. This gives you a slight bit of mobility, kind of similar to the speed tank, but the added benefit of using this is the fact that whenever you are attacking with that, you can get upgrades that'll reduce the damage that you take. So you can use this to tank heavy attacks and be able to dish out a lot of damage yourself. You can also have it so that your Splatolites here come out every time you do an attack, and with a single upgrade, you can have it so that you basically have permanent uptime on these. So all it requires is 35% of the duration to be extended, and then you can just basically use this, go into your form there, it comes back, and then just move around like this. That's why this gadget here is, in my opinion, the best setup. I've tried the others out here, but with the tank, you want to roll with these two. And again, all it needs is that single duration up here, plus 35%. You want to have this going at all times. Battle Frenzy cooldown can be nice too, but I find I have near infinite uptime. You can also get a skill that does not cost anything that lets you trigger this automatically when you do an attack. Later on, you will unlock the more Splatolites, which makes this really crazy because you just become a Beyblade of Death, kind of like Spirit Guardians. The orbital range is also a nice upgrade, which will increase the range of it, and obviously damage things are great too, but we want to get the Splatolite area up because this will increase the inked area, and if you can get a good upgrade on this, it is huge because it is going to allow you to just refuel your ink infinitely. And with the hatchet, I like to use for upgrades a bit of damage up. The splash damage up is nice so that you can hit more, and also the area effect up. You want to hit as many targets as possible. And as mentioned, reduced damage taken. Only 3 points will give you 50% damage reduction, and this can scale up even further. The reason this is so good is you can use the overpowered defender, which when you get damaged twice, it gives you a 40% attack boost, and this one also goes up higher. So basically use this for general movement, and then you swap to or use your hatchet whenever you need to be tanky and whenever there's a lot of enemies in an area of effect. Now, if you wanted to use the tactical tank, my recommendations for that is to use the shot pod, and in the offhand, use either the high fiver, and the bomb balloons are also a good choice because you can use these to create ink in an area of effect. The biggest downside to this setup is that you don't have the same ink generation as the power tank, but as a tactical one, you can roll with something like the bomb balloons here, which are good because you can increase the range of these. So going with that, and the connector damage is nice, although I find I don't typically use these for the connections as much as I use them just to throw out a large area of effect of ink. So you can roll with some of these here. If you shoot it, it will explode. For the high fiver here, I'm just using the increased range and closer focus. This is really good because it shoots multiple times on bosses, so it can be very, very good against particular enemies. And the shot pod, always throw this out. It is something you want to have at all times. You can also get an upgrade to increase the range in which you can throw it, which is nice because you can throw it up on ledges. Increase the fire rate is one of the most impactful things, as well as increasing its range. So these two are must-haves on this setup. I also like the knockback gas as well, which will push away enemies so they don't destroy it, and the duration up is also nice as well, so you can almost have permanent uptime on this one as well. And if you want to use the speed tank, I don't fully recommend it, but I prefer to go with something like the jump. I actually started off with this. The blast boots are nice because you can get some increased area of effect damage. This is basically just like do your attacks when you need to get out of jail free card or to jump into a fight, because it does actually a lot of damage. You use that, and then you can chain it into the dash here with the dash bomb, which does an explosion. So you jump in, dash back out. I found the damage from this isn't as high as using the other setups, so in all honesty, power tank just is the way to go. And when using the power tank for relics, I like the gadget recovery damage, which will decrease the gadget cooldown by 0.9 seconds when you're hit by a close range attack. Since we're typically getting in close range, you want to have this at all times. This lets you use your hatchet a little bit more. I also like the damage up. This can fit onto it, but I'm using the finishing burst, which has a 10% chance a small explosion occurs when a Samelid is defeated. This is really good because you can take out a large group of enemies, and especially on the dens where time matters, this is huge. Also squid endurance, so we're going to be in our squid form often. This reduces the damage you take as well as charges up the showstopper. Don't forget to use your showstopper. That is something you always want to be doing, and I like to roll with shark bite for that because it has a huge area of effect, and this is really good against bosses. You can use the moray storm here from Fry. This is a large area of effect as well, but I find less damage in general than the shark, and even the mantra dance here is pretty decent, but in my opinion the shark bite just ends up being the best. All three are viable though, so use whatever you find best. Now for weapons, there's a lot of really good ones. I'm a personal fan of the paintbrush here. The reason I like the paintbrush is you can use it when you don't have your cooldowns off. If you need to paint a large area of effect, because this game is important, you have to have ink in areas so that you can end up using it to refill. So I like to start off around by just going around and creating some paths around the area so that you have a spot to backpedal with. It has a very fast attack, but it's close range, and that's what's nice about using the hatchet here to open up, get into a fight, and then start attacking with this. Use this to get away, and your splatolites there will be dealing damage the entire time. So you can do a lot of attacks in with this, and then once you get your ultimate off, you can then blast away with the big shark there. So yeah, this thing hits really hard with this paintbrush. I also like the dualies or the twin cans here. This gives you a dodge roll, which is really nice. So the dual weapons, it's great for getting in and getting out on every single build. The umbrellas, like all the weapons in this game, are pretty effective. Most people have the most effects with the paintbrush here, or using the splatter shot, because this is just your general shot. It's a closer range attack, so you do need to get in decently close. But if you have the splat lights up, you're going to be getting in close range anyway, so you can use this. It is very powerful. I just found that the paintbrush was a little bit more enjoyable to use. This is good though, just be mindful it does have a short range, unless you're going to be using something a little bit different, like the Toy Claw Blaster here. So these blaster type will explode at like a 10-meter radius, so a bit longer radius than the other one. You do have to play around this and be mindful of where it's exploding at. We also have Squelchers, the long range attacks. These are really nice because you can actually hit from a very large range. So you can see here the range on this is like double the amount of the normal splatter shot. So using this is really nice, although I prefer this on like the tactical setup because you can basically toss out your turret and fire away. This is also really good against some of the enemies here in this game that are annoying, like the ones that you have to shoot at their backside, so you can get and flank a little bit easier with this setup. But in all honesty, if you're going to go for a weapon, I would say paintbrush or just the regular splatter shot just work well. Not a huge fan of the roller. The paintbrush is just my general favorite. The slosher is good too if you get in the habit of attacking really quickly. Splatlings are also nice, but you have to charge up and fire off. It is great for bossing, but honestly I think the paintbrush is just good for general purpose. And the Splatana is also a really fun one here because it does have some good attacks, and you can jump an attack, which will give you a larger reach attack here. So you can also press and hold it, which will create a large splat of ink there. So you can use that to create a pathway for you to move around with. But with the splat lights here, if you're rolling with those, this will do everything you need to. So the damage is a little bit less than the paintbrush because you attack slower with this. So that's why I recommend the paintbrush. If you get it, you can use ones that are a little bit lower level. It is totally fine, but use your preferred weapon as well. I just find this works best. Now for our upgrades, the best upgrades for your tank first, Gadget Parts. These give the biggest bang for your buck in terms of effectiveness because sometimes for just a couple of gadget points, you can get way larger damage increases. It is good to have your weapon and gadget damages up though. I find that you use actually both of these pretty consistently. The gadgets, in my build example, do more damage, so I'd recommend buffing up your gadgets more than your weapon. I didn't find any more than 3 health upgrades was needed with this setup, so yeah, go all in on your damage and you'll take out enemies quickly. If I could go back, I would put more points into the gadget damage and less into our main weapon, but always put every single available point into your gadget part slot as soon as possible. And at the Gadget Workshop, this is where you can create new upgrades for your weapons. I'd recommend doing these, and having multiple different slots is nice. Sometimes like you got huge buffs, like that's a 20% damage buff for only 1 extra slot. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can actually do some really good things, and this is something that you're going to be using often because this one is for when you get hit with your hatchet out, which gives you damage reduction. Now Now, the 10% decreased damage from 3 to 4 isn't really worth it, but the 20% increased damage is, in my opinion, worth it. You can also later on get things like double slash or make it so that you can charge in more times. I don't love this on particular setups, but this is something you experiment around because again, everyone has a different preferred playstyle. I'm just going with what I found to be the strongest. So yeah, the general flow to combat is we typically want to surround the area as much as possible. This is a den, so we're trying to wipe enemies out as fast as possible. I actually wasted some time here. These type of enemies, you should have to attack their explosives on their head here and watch out for them. That's why it's nice to have paint in an area of effect, and why I like the splatlight so much, because you can create large groups of paint here, just making it easy for you to be able to move around and get a lot of damage in. So it's all about staying mobile, because there's a lot of enemies on the screen at one given time, and we're trying to get as many enemies hit with our abilities as possible. So kiting them around before you use your hatchet is a good strategy here, because you can see there we wiped out a ton of enemies. This is my first time attempting this, so I'm not sure what I'm in for, but these are a lot of really strong enemies here, so I gotta move around, and that's what the splatlights is good for. So yeah, you can get actually some pretty crazy movement. Use your splatchet there whenever there's a large group of enemies in a single area like that, and just continually be looking for where you're gonna be going to next. You can use this paintbrush to move around a little bit more too, so there is other ways to be able to deal with the enemies. There was a big explosion. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, they have explosives. And this is exactly what we got our ultimate there for, so I ended up missing some of the enemies that I wanted to hit with that, but you get the idea with that. You're trying to clear this thing. This is a den, so they're a little bit more challenging. Sometimes you will have to do dens multiple times to get a feel for it. But yeah, our hatchet is a great way to engage into a fight, and then we can pop our ability here to give ourselves, again, you want to be trying to paint the area as much as possible so you have escape routes at all times. So yeah, if you do have any questions regarding this setup, please let me know in the comments. I'm usually pretty fast to get back to people on that. Oh, this is bad. You gotta watch out. There's some areas that you can't actually paint properly. But yeah, the paintbrush does have some range attacks there, which is quite nice, but you do have to be mindful of where you're moving next. That's honestly one of the biggest things with this game, is trying to find exactly where to go and try to keep your lanes open so that you can move around like this. So again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if this video was useful, and we'll catch you all in the next video.